All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath and Fresh Air podcast. here with here with your host. What's going on?
Nakhaz gang. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just in a laughy mood today.
And Earl Roberts. Um, Hopefully everyone had a great week, man. Hopefully everyone had a great week and stayed safe. I don't even know what's happening this week, but a lot of things been happening so far for 2024. So, it's just good to say hopefully you stayed safe.
Amen. Amen. So
Oh, go for it.
let me give you all a little update. Some of y'all could be like, boy, this guy's so cavalier about his injury. But man, I do not come with good news. I do not come with good news. So I request your prayer. Obviously, I'm not in low spirits, but I um I got my MRI. So let me give you a little timeline. I dislocated my knee like a day or two after Thanksgiving. So if you remember when I was, it's at the end of November. I was supposed to see my physical therapist, see the primary care physician, all that. Problem was, 2 days later, I was supposed to get on a flight to go preach in North Carolina. I was kind of overwhelmed, was in a lot of pain. I wasn't as forthcoming with all of the things I needed to do. So I say, I'm gonna do all these things when I get back. I get my MRI. Um, it was a problem just to get my MRI. My insurance was testing my patients. So anyway, that kind of prolonged things. I finally get it done, and I need to get it read by the orthopedic people. MRI, for those who don't know, is kind of like an X-ray, but it takes pictures of your ligaments and your tendons, and it's a form of imaging. I could have got the results on like the week of Christmas, but the day I was scheduled to get it, I was also traveling. I did not have time to get both done. And by this time, my knee is doing much better. I'm bending it. I'm thinking that I'm okay. Some people say it might be an ACL tear. I'm like, nah, can't be. Anywho, in the new year, I'm scheduled to see the doctor about my knee. I get COVID. I could not, in good faith, go to a medical facility that infected with COVID. So I waited until I was healed, and that was this week. I went to the doctor. Not only did I in fact tear my ACL, but I
Mercy.
also tore both of my meniscus in my right knee. You have two meniscus, I think, at least two, I should say. I tore both of them. So my meniscus and my ACL need surgery, and so I'm scheduled to get that done in a few weeks. So by the time you'll hear this, I would probably be a week until my surgery. So keep me in your prayers. I would like to be very athletic until I get older. I don't know.
Till
I
you
want
get
at
to
least
till you get the grandchildren at least.
real talk. I want at least 10 more years of being able to run. You know what I mean? So while I'm
I
still
think you
young,
got 20 in you.
I want 20. I
I
want
think you
20,
got at
bro.
least 20. Come on,
I,
man.
I really do. I really do, bro. And so that's why I'm just excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and get this corrected while I'm still young. You know what I'm saying? So that I can get back to being physical. It kind of put a damper on my fitness goals at the end of the year, but just needed. I just got to work on it in other ways now. So yeah, pray for me. That's my knee update for 2024.
This is
What a way
this
to
is
start the year.
this has become a saga in itself.
I know. I know.
But yeah, man, praying for you and wishing you all the best in this knee injury. Like at least you finally get the results you can move forward. Like that's the biggest thing. It
Yeah.
ain't in that limbo stage. I mean, we were praying for nothing to be done, but well,
Right.
to be injured, but at least now you know. Man, the whole thing's been a conundrum. I just
Real
feel
talk.
like from you at the MRI, they saw the results. They should have been like, uh, like when they call you afterwards, be like, yeah, so this is what happened.
Right.
We need you to get taken care of.
Yeah. See, the problem is, the place I went for the orthopedic, I had to go somewhere else for the
Mm,
MRI,
mm,
and when I went in network with my insurance, it wasn't Advent Health related at all. This was just a independent imaging person because I wanted to stay in network to alleviate any more problems. Mind you, I was already having problems with my insurance with the MRI. So anyway, stayed in network, and they gave me the impression that they were gonna send this to be read officially, and then they're gonna reach back out to me, or maybe they was waiting for me to reach out. But I was under the impression that they were gonna let me know my results. Never heard back from them, but they did give me a CD, which I took to the orthopedic people the orthopedic physicians and surgeons, and they were able to read it to me, and they read it very quickly, very quickly. Just to look at it, it's like, oh yeah, it was a guy physical, because I first saw a physical therapist before I saw the surgeon for the consult, and
Mm.
he's like, yeah, so yeah, you tore your ACL. He was trying to break the news to me. He was trying to let me down easy, but my cousin, who's also a physical therapist, when I explained the injury, he told me that he believes that I tore my ACL.
Mm.
And so I already had that in my head. But it just was so unbelievable. Bro, audience, I want you all to understand how casual of a basketball game this was, that I heard myself. I wasn't even playing for 20 minutes at the time. We had lost the first game. It was quick. They made quick work out of us, bro. I was playing with these young boys, bro. They're like 18. Man. Oh man. But that second game, I was like, I gotta redeem myself. This was like the first play that I got the ball.
So I'm hearing you went so hard, bro. You pop your knee and both meniscus in the same knee, bro.
my my
That's
body was not prepared for how hard I was trying to go in the second game.
what they said. The mind is willing, but the body is weak.
The flesh is weak, bro. the
Oh
the
my.
flesh is weak. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, that was a good laugh.
Yeah.
Praying that all that gets sorted out.
Pray that my
Um,
knee gets pray that my knee gets rebuilt the way they about to rebuild this wall in Nehemiah chapter 3.
that's an interesting transition. That's a good transition. That's a good transition. But honestly, though, like, man, we was talking pre-pod, and some of the conversation we was talking about really say could have been a podcast episode. But one of the things we talked about, I know it's not going to be the same or probably as authentic as in the actual when we were just talking about it. But I actually want to kind of bring it back on pod just to like have the audience just have part of the conversation and also get they can have their take on it, comment below or whatever you guys want to do. But it's like the premise, like if you have a new convert who comes to church, right? And they were in the world and they're nervous, and the thing they do before they come inside the church is smoke a cigarette. And you tell them about it, and it discourages them from coming to church now. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think I kind of even set up the premise for it to be a bad thing, but you kind of get like it's like you know what I'm saying, but
Let me put it like this.
yeah.
Imagine, bro, you know, imagine that we have, I don't want to say drug dealer, but I want to make this out to be a person. I want to think about think about somebody that like as a profession, they does something that's unethical, you know, like a drug dealer or a pimp or a prostitute or something. Like, they are fully engulfed in doing sinful things. Like, that's just how they are. You understand what I'm saying? When you see them in church, you might see them for a couple of times, but they continue to live the lifestyle that they're not supposed to live, right? do you do you do you speak on that? When you see them in church, would you speak on that, like, bro, you gotta stop, you gotta stop dealing drugs, bro. Like, you coming from you about to go deal crack in the community, but you gotta stop doing that, right? Or do you allow them to continue so that one day they can be saved, like continue in church,
Mhm.
unbothered, you see what I'm saying, so that they can continue to be saved. This is a horrible analogy, but I'm still going to try it out, so that they can continue to be saved, hoping that one day they can be sanctified and stop doing this. And let me tell you why I use that analogy. Tax collectors during the time of Jesus were seen to be unethical, immoral. One,
Exactly. It's crazy.
because
That
the
same example popped in my head too, but keep going.
yeah, because the Jews, they thought of themselves, they 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 held on to the promises that God so gave to them being their firstborn, and the way God used to really ride for them, and the things that they went through. So they had a lot of esteem of themselves, and so now they had been they had been subject to the leadership of other nations for years, right? So if the if the Romans, who you deem as pagans, right, and they have no part in your inheritance, in the decisions that y'all make, but they're ruling you all. Anybody that works with the Romans works with your oppressors to rule your people would be seen as a traitor. So you have Matthew, who's a
Mm-hmm.
tax collector. You have Zacchaeus, right? When Jesus was seen having lunch with tax collectors, the Pharisees had a big problem with that. Jesus would say, it's not the well that need a doctor, but the sick. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So now you see someone in church that is clearly sick. There are sins that have that are a hold of them, that have caught a hold of them, and they might not know right from wrong, but they're in church. So they're making a step towards being saved, being sanctified, etc. I don't think you should hold them at the standard of those who are sanctified already, when these people might not even be saved. This is their introduction to being saved. You know, a lot of times our zeal for God, we might speak out of turn. We might say something to somebody that may hurt them or offend them. Whereas if you just keep it to yourself, just hold your tongue, right? This they might fix it on their own. Now it's different when you know somebody who is in the fold, right? Who is held to a certain standard, who should be
Mm-hmm.
held accountable, and you correct them. The Bible speaks about that.
Yep.
However, we do not have evidence of Jesus seeing people on a day-to-day basis who are sinners. The fact that we all are sinners. Jesus living in a world surrounded by sinners. We don't see Jesus saying, bro, oh Peter, you was thinking about another woman, bro. That wasn't your wife. You was thinking about them. That's lust. You understand what I'm saying? Judas was allowed his sin to germinate, bro. Like in his heart of hearts, bro. He conspired against Jesus. He was money hungry. He would sell Jesus out for money. These things lingered within him. But we don't see
Mm-hmm.
where Jesus say, bro, Judas, bro, you you get this money and you ain't paying your tithes, or you ain't giving freely or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? It's still a free will aspect, you know? And so it's important not to do more harm than good, because sometimes you turn somebody away, that might that might stick with them longer than the smell of cigarettes or weed on them might stick with you. You understand? Like,
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. And is like, don't be the rock in the good soil that uproots the seed's growth. Because, man, it's funny. Like a lot of people in Christianity isn't even turned away by the message. They're turned away by the people in the church.
a
And
lot of people have
now,
church hurt, bro. A lot, bro. It's an overwhelming amount of people with church hurt.
and Christianity as a whole should probably look and address that, because this should be the church of love. Now, again, certain things I do say you have to have your standards, so I do agree. But stuff like that, man. So, man, I'm gonna just give an example, right? Like a guy, I wouldn't say we friends, but we associates right now. Either way, in school, he actually got me to speak in school at a week of worship because he was like the spiritual person, chaplain type thing, right? But his story was that, when he was growing up, well, he's one of the people who came, like, he was sponsored to come to university because he was already like kind of older, right? But when he was like in the world, right, someone gave him like steps to Christ, and he started to actually come to church. But he was nervous, didn't know no one, scared. So like every Sabbath before he went in church, he would literally stand outside church, smoke a cigarette to calm his nerves, and then he goes inside church. And this was like a one-time thing. He did this for months. But he showed up to church every week to smoke a cigarette to go inside church. But then ultimately, like after he got deep in the word, he actually found out that, okay, he found out what he should and shouldn't be doing. And long story short, nowadays he's a pastor, right? But so and then like afterwards, as he got like more grounded, where he went back and asked like some of the elders of the church and like even the pastor, like, yo, why didn't y'all never say anything? Because they literally said, like, we knew if we had said something, we probably would have discouraged you at that point and you wouldn't have come back. So it was more important for us to let you keep growing and come back to church than to correct you and saying you shouldn't be smoking. And so, like, just think about it. Like, and to your point, like, as you made this point too, like, man, so he's a pastor now. But imagine like all the things, like all the seeds he's planting now, indirectly and even directly. But so imagine if someone had they stopped him from smoking a cigarette to calm his nerves, so he actually come to church, bro. I feel like a lot of saints sometimes, like when you're already well, you forget what it feels like to be sick. And Christ said, I didn't come to save the saved. I come to save those who actually need me, the broken, the downtrodden. Like these are the people who actually need to hear the good word of Christ. These are the people who actually need to come to church to get to know him. And so we as people who are like more grounded, know more, we should not forget that aspect of church, of community, of what Jesus himself stood for. Like, the only time Jesus went into synagogue was to actually like correct y'all, like, but y'all falling all these other things that ain't even of me. But most of the time, Jesus is with the rejects of society. So,
Bro, one of the hardest things for me to do is entertain guests on the Sabbath. So I might have a friend who comes to spend some time with me, or family, or who I'm talking about people who don't keep the Sabbath though. Like I might have a friend, a cousin, whatever have you. They spend some time with me. So now before the Sabbath happens, I let them know, bro. We just lock in with God. That's how I say it. I try to be like chill. Like we lock in with God, you know what I'm saying? We take this time, we don't really watch TV, listen to music. Like we try to make it God centered. But you could tell somebody that, but if they're not used to keeping the Sabbath, there's something they do that they consider okay that you might not consider okay. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, then I am tasked with just being a nitpicker. You understand what I'm saying? Or to lead by example, or to let things go, or to attack everything. You understand what I'm saying? Case in point, I had a friend. He came. He wasn't even coming to see me. He came to visit family. He had a layover in Orlando. He came to visit family, but his family caught COVID. This was a few years ago. They reached out to me, asked if he could stay with me. I said, yeah. I let them know though, if he stays with me, we intend to keep the Sabbath. So just have that in mind. This person um was raised Adventist. I don't know how they worship now, but
mm-hmm.
I wake up in the morning, I'm about to go to church. I see that he's playing video games on his cell phone, right? And so now I'm thinking, I'm like, bro, the commandment says like, thou not thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, right? It was talking about work and keeping it holy. But I just think to myself, bro, if I go to him and I say, bro, turn that game off, bro. Like, you in my house, you got to do this. I feel like I'd be given the wrong message of how the Sabbath should be kept, because that's not like, it's not love. It's like it's like I'm being a teacher or a dictator or something like that. And at the end of the day, I can't force someone to keep the Sabbath holy, bro. No matter what, bro. Because they might not be playing a game. He might be watching a movie. He might be doing whatever bro. It's you don't like, even if you sitting down doing nothing, that don't mean you keeping it holy, bro. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not making it about God. You might just be chilling in silence, whatever. And I can't force somebody to be righteous. You see what I'm saying? Especially if this is not my child. You know what I'm saying? And that's I had to wrestle with that. I had to wrestle with that because I know, how when you have your own spot, not even your own house, bro, like you might have your own apartment, how you like how things, the order of things in a normal setting, right? With church, we have the same way. We know the order of things. We know the type of people that we engage with. A lot of times it's the same people every week, but now you have someone new and they doing something that makes you uncomfortable. They smell like alcohol. They come in church high. You see what I'm saying? Their skirt too short. These things, these things bother you, right? Now, the question is, are you going to force this person to do what you deem acceptable, or are you going to allow them the chance, the opportunity to get it right? Because newsflash, bro, even those who do not sin like that, there are still ways that we all need to grow in our own personal life. I'll give you an example. It
Yeah,
was
keep
a
going.
time, yeah, no, it was a time, man, when I didn't, I didn't, I didn't think about covetousness. I didn't realize how being hyper competitive and seeing somebody achieve something and instantly thinking that should be me, or I need to work harder, or looking at other things. I didn't realize how covetousness, that's a silent killer for me. You see what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
you start to think, bro, guys, you told yourself you was gonna be six figures by 25, right? Now your friend just say, hey, I just got my first, you're 26 now, right? And your friend just say, hey, I just got my first six-figure role, right? And what you thinking? Should have been me, bro. I say I was gonna be six figures. You know what I mean? Oh, congrats, bro. But in your mind, you're like, boy, I need to. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
covetousness, right? I did not take into consideration how this affected me, but the Lord didn't chastise me even while I was in my ignorance. The Lord didn't penalize me. He didn't punish me. You see what I'm saying? He gave me time to get it right. We was just talking about a dude. We listened to him for years. He breaks down the Bible kind of like what we do, but he speaks more on end times. The man believed in the pre-tribulation rapture for years. He preached that. These last 2 years, he been repenting of that. I used to preach this. I don't preach it no more because Christianity is a journey. You understand what I'm saying? Like you don't get baptized and know everything. You see what I'm saying? Like you could be 30, 40 years in and still learning things, still learning that, oh wow, when I when I when I talk to people this way, when I see the young people in church and I give them a hard time for talking too loud or for doing whatever, I am actually making their time at church grievous. You see what I'm saying? I am actually obstructing the word of God by being such a diplomat during this time. Sometimes you could have the right, your heart could be in the right place, but the approach is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that understanding and you realize that Jesus don't walk around every day waking you up like, bro, you only pray 10 minutes today. That's unacceptable. Samuel them used to pray 5 hours. You see what I say? Like a real
Mm-hmm.
Christian would do this, bro. Oh, you ain't fast all year? Bro, Jesus say pray and fast. You see what I'm saying? Like Jesus don't hold us accountable he don't hold us to be perfect. You see what I'm saying? But we need to be willing participants in getting better and learning to overcome sin, so.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree. And to one thing, what you were saying when people come over, right? And for me, how I look at it, you can't force no one to do anything because God doesn't force you to keep the commandments. So I can't force you to do anything, even if you were in my house. What Abraham, those were, they were super good examples, and people wanted to follow them so much that they respected them enough to also keep the commandments. And like Christ calls us to be good examples. We see this in Timothy too. We see this like in John. Like Christ saying, yo, I left the example for you all to follow, and you all also follow these good doctrines and live these lives so that people could follow you guys and be good examples of what Christians should be. And so, I mean, that's just how I deal with that. Because like I can tell you, yeah, we keeping the Sabbath, but you come over here and you choose not to, we can talk about it, but at the same time, I can't force you to do anything because at that point now you have an extra bitter taste in your mouth because now you forced to do something that you don't even want to do. But now being around me on the Sabbath, you see how I keep the Sabbath, eventually probably can start doing the same thing. Like they say, you stick around a barber shop long enough, you probably could get a haircut.
Yep.
And so, and I just think that's how it should be because now again, yeah, like because and that's a lot of things why like the same thing we're talking about now. You used to smoking cigarettes, but you don't even know why this bad for you or anything like that. And using it as a crux right now, right? You hang around the church long enough, you can say, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing this. But it's being in that environment long enough to actually see the goodness and see what other people doing and seeing, oh yeah, okay, this probably, I'm probably, somebody you realize, I'm the only one out here actually smoking a cigarette every Saturday morning. Maybe I should figure out why it's only me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because, bro, just imagine if Christ, if Jesus, God had forced the Israelites to keep his commandments. They would have been dead from they came out of Egypt.
Fox, bro. Bro, even the woman caught in the act of adultery, bro. She was caught in the act of doing something wrong, bro. But Jesus ain't even basha for that, bro. He said, but they don't accuse you, but I don't accuse you neither, bro. Just go and sin no more.
Just go
You
and
see what
sin
I'm
no
saying?
more. Like
Straight
you
up.
know what you're doing wrong. I know what you're doing wrong. But but now you, but now you really acknowledge, yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
So, yeah, man. Like again, sometimes you gotta take a trip down memory lane. Like I was telling someone today, like, yo, if I stay with this company, but like when I move further up in my career, I'm like, I told him, I said, I never want to forget what it was to be a young staff engineer fresh out of college. Because the minute you forget what it's like is when your whole perspective changes and you can no longer relate. And when you can no longer relate, that's when you just lose connections, bro. I mean, like, obviously that's just like, self-fulfilling right there, right? But it's like you no longer can put yourself in that person's shoes, and now it's a complete disconnect. And now you kind of looking down on this person versus when you actually can remember when, oh, yo, this was me. I was this person who was doing everything wrong. You know what I'm saying? I was the person who needed more grace. I was the person who wasn't a good Christian. Crap. I still probably ain't a good Christian by some standards right now. And I have a whole Bible podcast. You know what I'm saying? All I have to say is like, bro, we all fall short, bro. And we all need God every day. Paul in the Bible say, bro, I have to die to yourself daily. The things I want to do, I find myself not doing. The things I find myself doing, things I don't even want to be doing. This is Paul, who write most of the New Testament.
Yeah.
So,
All type of letters.
man, letters for everybody. It was you I sent to me too was saying, man, imagine if Paul was alive today writing a letter to the church.
Where do I even start?
My dear saints,
I
where
am
to
the
begin?
Apostle Paul, right?
But yeah, man, I think I do think that was a good discussion, and I like wanted to capture some of that on the podcast because, like, again, it makes people think, and especially as you get older and more like grounded, it's easier to lose your way and lose that connection. And I think it's important even for us, like to like never really fully lose that connection. I'm not saying that we would, but at a point in time, I just say like 30 years down the line, it's like when you're more so removed from it, you're like, oh, come on. You know what I'm saying? You should know better. But I was that I didn't know better.
That's true.
So
But I just wanna end on this. Like you
go
could
for it.
be you could be you could be zealous, right? But at the end of the day, you can't like in the and I think is in Proverbs, it's a fool gives full vent to their mind, right? And you read Proverbs, a lot of times they talk about just holding your peace, holding your tongue. You see what I'm saying? Everything that come to your mind, everything that bother you is not worthy to express. Sometimes time and a place really matters, especially that time. You see what I'm saying? Jesus wouldn't get anything done if he was pointing out everything that the disciples or the people around him can improve, right?
Imagine.
But now think about this. Jesus was sharing with his disciples that he was about to die. Peter rebukes Jesus. He pulled Jesus aside, rebuke him. Jesus, I'll never let this happen. Right? Pull him aside, bro. Peter thought,
I would embarrass you in front of everybody, Jesus,
no, no,
right?
no, right? I want to buy, I want to shame you now, bro. But you bugging. You bugging. I gotta check you because who am I if I don't tell you? You see what I saying? So
And get some brownie points on the side, but keep going.
right. And now I look good too, because I even holding you accountable. Jesus tell him, bro, get thee behind me, Satan,
Mm-hmm.
because you obstructing the will of God. Now I want y'all to consider this. There are people, bro, as petty as it sounds. To me, it don't hold water, but everybody ain't Teflon. Everybody, some people have a higher threshold for pain than others. But there are some people, you ask them how they feel about God or church. I don't go to church, bro. I've been to church. It's minding my own business. This older person tell me, your skirt too short, or you showing your shoulders, or whatever have you. And it embarrassed me. It humiliate me to the point where I don't even come to church no more. And I am not saying this, I'm imagining these. I've heard people speak like this. Now, personally, I used to get mad when I hear stuff like that, but at the end of the day, these people get hurt. You see what I'm saying? I used to get mad because I used to say, oh, if you have a bad encounter, I say this on the pod, bro. If you have a bad encounter at the bank, you ain't gonna stop going to the bank. You see what I'm saying? Someone make you mad at the grocery store, you ain't gonna stop going to the grocery store. But at the end of the day, people do pick and choose what they can put up with. And for some reason, people ain't putting up with church hurt. You see what I'm saying? Our generation, but growing up, it used to be so much people my age in church, bro. But it used to be, but it used to be so much people my age, so much people a year older than me, 2 years older than me. I couldn't wait to be a big kid because it was just so many youth and young adult around me. When I attend churches, and I've attended many because I don't have a home church no more, I do not see the ratio. I do not
No.
see a lot. I don't see 10 people my age, bro. Now, if you wanna class all people in their 20s as my age, no, but I don't see people within a 5-year variance of my age, up or down, bro. I don't see a lot of them. You see what I'm saying? Especially not after the pandemic. You speak to a lot of people, or the church full of fake people, judgmental people. They talking about times when, but I can be real, bro. I remember my wife was telling me when she went to get baptized, bro. She she go into the pool, bro. A woman pull her aside and say, "All right, now, hopefully we could get you to take off that necklace." I about to get baptized, bro. What? Like, relax, bro. Like, I just given my soul to Christ, bro. I know what's going on, but she had to be like 9. You see what I say? Like certain things, like I do believe, bro, people is be living in the flesh, bro, and the devil is use your zeal, bro, against
Mm-hmm.
you. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? To really turn you off, bro, and stuff like that. Like stuff like that just bother you, bro. When you remember how that person who was so nitpicky, bro, like it angers you. Because I'm a young child and I can't really speak up for myself. But it's like you being too nitpicky, bro. Give me a chance to grow. You see what I say? Like,
Yep.
and I say all that to say, consider this because you do not want to do more harm than good. You see what I'm saying? You do not want your zeal that you think is being used for God end up turning someone to the devil, essentially.